Next up is the spear bearer, also known as the Doryphoros, that was sculpted in 440 BC by a sculptor called Cleitus. And the tree trunk is a dead giveaway that we're looking at a marble copy of what was a bronze original. And it's really, really important when you're revising your statue to try and remember what was the original material of the statue, because then you can talk about it as though it was originally viewed by the Greeks. Now, when it comes to Cleitus, we often will talk about him in questions in relation to his innovations or what he brought about to Greek art that was new, so we haven't seen it on other statues before. And the first of those aspects of this statue is not actually visible. It's the canon, the fact that this statue was made using a set of mathematical equations that are meant to relate to the ideal man. So he literally is the perfect man. Another of his innovations is the pose itself. So he's in a much more advanced version of the relaxed pose that we saw statues like Cleitus in or Riachi warriors where we had one leg bent. Now we've still got a bent leg and therefore the hips are still tilted in one direction. Just try and draw that on for you. But now the shoulders tilt in the opposite direction. And what that causes is one side of the torso to be long and extended and relaxed, and the other side to be much shorter and contracted. So contrapposto is about the body working kind of against each other. That's what the contra bit means. And if we look at the pose, we can see other elements of that as well. For example, the head is turned in the opposite direction to the knee. And we've got a bent arm versus a bent leg, and a straight arm versus a straight leg. So lots of balancing of opposites going on. In addition to contrapposto, some other innovations are the fact that we've got a young face on an older body. So those muscles are much more mature than you would expect for someone without a beard. And in fact, those muscles can be referred to as stocky, because if you look at the iliac crest, which just to remind you is this line that we see here, that is so much more heavily defined than we have seen on other statues. So very stocky muscles is very typical of Cleitus. We've also got down here what we can refer to as the trailing foot or the trailing leg to give the impression of movement from this statue overall. And in fact, it's that also gives this statue what I call 360 views. It's very interesting from a number of angles, whereas some of our other statues have only really worked from one or two viewpoints. For example, Doryphoros from the front, or God of Artemisium works best from the front and the sides.